What's up, people? I'm Shaggy, the Opinionated Hippie, continuing my deep dive into Bruce Springsteen and all of his catalog. Today I'm going to rant about, I'm going to encourage you to go get if you haven't already checked it out, because it turns out I really like it, though I didn't think I would. The Ties That Bind, the River Collection, released in 2015. There's DVDs to this, but the musical component is 4 CDs. The first 2 being The River, the album itself. The third CD being The Ties That Bind, an unreleased album that was apparently going to be released in lieu of The River back in '79, but then that was scrapped. Some of the songs were used for The River. The River was then released after that. And then we also have a 4th CD, which is outtakes and stuff that did not make The River, that is head-scratchingly good. And I ranked all the studio albums that Bruce did, and there's other videos going back a couple weeks ago. The River for me was like not even top 10. It was like in the bottom half of the list. I'm not a fan of The River. There are some great songs on there. I love the ambition of a double album. I understand that the weaker tracks, especially in the case of The River, I think there are definitely filler tracks, but this is one of those albums where the filler tracks kind of work just because of the nature of the beast. But the songs, for the most part, I just don't like. I don't like the sound. I don't like the vibe. It is my least, that is the vibe of Springsteen that is my least favorite vibe. I just don't like that album. So when this came out, I didn't buy it right away. I bought the Darkness thing when it came out immediately. Did not get this. But the San Antonio Library had it almost immediately. I checked it out. I listened to it. I still didn't like The River. I thought the third CD was better than The River. I have thoughts on that quickly. But the 4th CD, the one with the outtakes, the one that had you just released that CD and not released anything else, I think that's a top 5 album, possibly. Maybe not top 5, it's top 10. It's definitely better than The River. The outtakes on this are amazing. Who made the decision? Apparently Bruce made the decision. I know he's expressed, I think there was a DVD that went with this, or an interview about The River, and he expressed some sort of he had to make decisions, this song or this song, and I think some of those he regretted, decades later. Nonetheless, people love The River. I don't. I understand it. I just don't, whatever. But the stuff that was left behind, oh my gosh. Some of this stuff has been previously released on the Tracks, which was like a archival vault release thing with a bunch of unreleased stuff. Some of it was released on a bonus CD for something. I think it was called The Essential Bruce Springsteen. I don't have that. But I eventually bought this. Checked it out at the library. Fell in love with the last 2 discs. I eventually bought it. Still haven't fallen in love with The River itself, the first 2 discs. But disc 3 and 4 are good. Disc 3 on this is The Ties That Bind, the unreleased album. 10 tracks. I think it's 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Maybe it's only 9 tracks. Am I missing something here? I think it's only 9 tracks. I feel like I'm missing something. Yes, it's 10 tracks. I got them. 10 tracks. Some of them would appear on The River. But this is what you get. It opens up with Ties That Bind. Seems like it's a brighter mix. Seems like it just feels a little bit brighter. Okay song. Cindy, a new song. Kind of okay. It's kind of an upbeat new song about unrequited love. He does so much for her, and yet Cindy will just not love him back. It's pretty sad. Then we get Hungry Heart, which just kills. It works. Great placement, 3rd song. Can't put it first because it's just way too different sounding. I like Hungry Heart. I know people have complained that it's just like, I've read reviews over the decades, it's just way too poppy. I think Hungry Heart could have saved this for Born in the USA, would have made that album somehow even better. But I think it works as a 3rd song. Then we get Stolen Car version 1. It's longer. It's got slightly different lyrics. Some of the same ideas are there, but just there's minor changes in the lyrics. I think there's a new verse that pops up, or that one of the verses is kind of different. But so far, the sequencing of this new version, I think, is pretty strong. And then after that, to close out what would have been side A, we get Be True, which was released as the B-side of Fade Away. And then it also, apparently it was this or Crush on You is the story, and Frank chose Crush on You. And apparently he then wished he hadn't. This is a really nice piano-driven kind of upbeat rock, really good song, some great piano. There's saxophone in here that actually works. A lot of saxophone on the river. I just don't like that sound. But side A is strong. I think The Ties That Bind, Cindy, Hungry Heart, Stolen Car, Be True is a strong sequence. It's not the best thing in the world. Doesn't blow your mind, but I think it's a really solid listen. Side B would then open up with The River, which is essentially the same. Sounds cleaner for some reason. Some murkiness about the original River I don't like. And this sounds a little bit brighter. A different version of You Can Look, But You Better Not Touch, which is just a lot more rockabilly. It's scrappier. It feels simpler. It really, really works, and it's really awesome, and I think it's better than the version that was released. We get The Price You Pay, which has some different lyrics. There's a verse that has some different lyrics. Pretty much exactly the same. It's a little bit longer. I Want to Marry You, which pretty similar to the River version, if not the same. The saxophone sound on here I don't like. I think it's an underwhelming song. I don't think it interesting that this is what would have been on this album. I don't think the pairing of The Price You Pay and I Want to Marry You necessarily works. And then Loose Ends or Loose End has some nice bright guitar, but has that horrible sax sound, closes out the album. I think it's a better listen than The River, just because it's shorter, and we do still get The River, which is fantastic. Hungry Heart's fantastic. Stolen Car is fantastic. This version of You Can Look is fantastic. But it's kind of an underwhelming release. Like, following Born to Run and Darkness, I think this would have been something that would have been appreciated and liked, but people would have thought it was kind of just maybe not going anywhere. And I understand the desire to double down and release The River if this was the alternative. I just wish they had kept this version of You Can Look, because it's really, really good. But that's a good CD. The last CD is great. Must hear. Amazing. 22 tracks. Like, all of them had been previously unreleased. I don't think there's a B-side on here. I don't think there's any of that stuff. I mean, they had been released on something like Tracks or some other archival release, but they were not on an album, were not on a B-side. They are amazing. Opens up with Meet Me in the City. A lot of these things that makes it really cool is because they're outtakes. They have this 1, 2, 3. You get a count in. So there's a live urgency to a lot of this stuff that absolutely helps sell it. Meet Me in the City. Fantastic. Upbeat rocker. The keyboards are amazing. The energy is amazing. It's about a guy who's just having a whole bunch of trouble and wants to escape. So just meet me in the city. He gets busted. He gets charged. He's on parole. He gets handcuffed. Yeah. Great song. Great story. Great energy. Great lead off to, if this was just an album, side disc 4 would be an amazing album. The Man Who Got Away follows. By the way, The Man Who Got Away was the narrator. Armed robbery. Robbery is the suspect. Or is he watching a movie and imagining this? What is happening? Who knows? Anyways, it's just another great high energy rocker. Little White Lies. Little poppier, but we're still rocking out. This is about just being in love and how, as love goes on, the romance itself kind of falls victim to all the little white lies you've been telling each other this time over time. Super catchy, great song, really strong start. Opening 3 songs, fantastic. Time That Never Was, more of a 50s, your traditional, like that river type sound. Okay song. Yeah, I mean, about a couple trying to escape and drive towards a future that never actually was, so it's that back in the good old days. Yeah, but were they really good old days? Is that really ever a time that was? Lyrically, these are all fantastic. Lyrically, there's a lot of lyrics going on. Like, he left a lot behind. And musically, the energy is fantastic. Nightfire is next. Nice piano driven, about someone who's hanging with is she hanging with the right crowd? It looks like the right crowd, but are they really the right crowd? Kind of nice mid-tempo bounce to this song. White Town, breezy, 50s flavored, kind of poppy, rocky type stuff, typical River stuff. Chain Lightning, which is just kind of cool and slick. A little bit of like, surf rock type guitar effects, bending those strings a little bit. Some sultry sax that's lurking in there that kind of sounds different than other sax that Clarence would play. Only 3 minutes long, needs to be longer. Fantastic song, kind of changes the vibe a little bit in the middle of this disc. Party Lights, sung to an older woman who's, needs to go back and visit the party lights, and the narrator is going to bring her back. We're going to get somebody to watch the kids, and let's go revisit that. Very typical River vibe, the album, the River vibe, but I think it's just a better song than some of the other stuff on there. We get Paradise by the Sea. This is one song that had been released. A live version was released on 75-85. It's written specifically for Clarence Clemens so that when they came back after their first set intermission, before the second set, this would be the opening song, about 3.5 minutes long, so people could find their seats and not like miss anything, like just an instrumental fun party jam type thing. Really cool. This version feels live, has a great vibe to it. Stray Bullet, really sad song. Kind of sounds like The River. It's long. We got some excellent saxophone in here. It's moody. Definitely, you couldn't have this and The River on the same side of a double album because they I think, fill that same role. And this one doesn't quite have that same impact that The River does, but it's in that vein, and it's a good song. It works. It's sad. A stray bullet shot my baby down. It's not a good thing. Mr. Outside, just acoustic guitar and some vocals. We keep it simple. It sounds great. Works well. Roulette, big, huge rolling drums coming in on this song. Absolutely great about playing roulette with your life. Restless Nights, we jump right into this bouncy piano rock. Some really nasty keyboard work on here. A great ending solo with these awesome, like, weird keyboardy sound. It's almost slightly proggy synthy. Great guitar solo. Just amazing performances. Amazing energy. We still got like 10 more songs left on this. We're like barely halfway through. And it's already, I think, much better than The River. Where the Bands Are kind of sounds like Elvis Costello. A number of these songs mine that sort of get happy Elvis Costello vein that Elvis was doing around this time. I Want to Be Where the Bands Are. Dollhouse starts off with this little tinkly piano keyboard sound that sounds like you would hear it inside a dollhouse. Nice bass-driven song. Band drops in. It's about singing to a girl who's maybe planned out her whole life as if she were living in a dollhouse, and maybe things aren't going as you planned. Got to learn to roll with them changes. Living on the Edge of the World, really Buddy Holly, full-on Buddy Holly vibe on this one. We even get almost like these Crickets-type backing vocals that kind of sound like some Buddy Holly stuff. What's his name goes on this fast rant. Springsteen, this fast kind of vocal rant at the end. Some of the lyrics in here would be taken and used in Open All Night on the Nebraska album, which is kind of interesting. Completely different vibes. But similar, living on the edge of the world, the middle of the night, driving somewhere, listening to the radio by yourself, trying to find somebody, to connect with. So the songs both have the same meaning. It's just the vibe is so completely different. Take them as they come. You got to, because fool's going to want to fight, man. Fool's going to want to fight. Life is tough, so you better be ready for it. Really good song. Ricky wants a man of her own. Yeah. Daddy says she wears her jeans too tight. Little girl's growing up and she wants a man on her own. You got to cut her loose, man. Can't. Yeah, Dad, you got to let her go. Really nice keyboard infested rock right here. Great energy. I Want to Be With You. We're like 4 songs left on this and we're still getting absolute bangers, people. Great opening guitar riff. Piano comes in. You get this big rock vibe. You get this absolute just hovering over everything type saxophone. The narrator lost his job at the Texaco station. Got a weird Zappa connection to wind up working at the gas station, but then you get fired after pumping for the man. Mary Lou, upbeat rocker. He's trying to plead his case. I'm not like all the other guys. Mary Lou, come with me. Held Up Without a Gun, which is probably the roughest sounding thing on here. Definitely has more of like a bootleg type sound quality. Rowdy, upbeat, crazy rocker. And then we close out with the absolutely brilliant From Small Things, Big Things One Day Come. Great story with a tragic ending. Great energy. References the Promised Land. So works into like the conceptual continuity of the Bruce world. Upbeat. Fantastic. Amazing closer. This album, Disc 4, is a beast, people. Like if you were to take Meet Me in the City, The Man Who Got Away, Little White Lies, Nightfire, Chain Lightning, Stray Bullet, Roulette, Restless Nights, Take Me As They Come, Ricky, I Want to Be With You, From Small Things. Those 10 songs, you maybe have a top 5 album. You have something that rivals, I think, Darkness on the Edge of Town. Doesn't sound like Darkness, much bigger energy, much bigger rock vibe, definitely a little more positivity, even though the lyrics are super, super dark. It's a fantastic album. But you throw in all this other stuff anyways, even though some of it might be filler and might not stand up, it is still an absolutely incredible listen. I highly, highly recommend it. If you have not listened to the final CD of The Ties That Bind, the River Collection, you need to change that. Maybe your public library hasn't. Mine does. My public library is amazing. Or maybe you just want to buy it at this point because you just can't go wrong. If you like The River and you have not heard this, you're missing out on life. I don't like The River, and I think this is amazing. Disc 4 is amazing. Yeah, those are my thoughts. All right, people, that's all I got. Let me know your thoughts on this. Things I don't know about Bruce that you know, drop them in the comments. Subscribe, like, share, comment, do those things. Thank you for watching. Peace. Go listen to this. It's really good. Talk to you later.